Alright, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today I will be reacting to another MrSantiZap video, this time with his hot takes about WWE Crown Jewel. I just kicked the camera, my fault. I did record a video about of my reaction to Crown Jewel, but I didn't really like the way it turned out, so I didn't upload it. So instead here I'm also just gonna look at these hot takes that he has for me, talk about them, and you know, see if I agree with them, you know? So yeah, man, let's just get right into this, dude. I'm excited to be finally back on the channel talking about Crown Jewel and its Crown Jewel. I guess I should talk about Crown Jewel first real quick. I did enjoy Crown Jewel quite a bit, honestly. I do think a lot of their the in-ring matches themselves were really good. You know, AJ Styles, John Cena was amazing. Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes was awesome. The women's tag was actually a surprising amount of fun. And, you know, like, Roman Reigns, Bronson Reed really served the crowd. And then, Stephanie McCurry versus Tiffany Stratton was also really good as well. So, it was a good show. It was kind of just felt like a glorified house show, but there was a lot of good wrestling on it. So, I'm curious to see what people say about this, because I think it's also, the consensus is it was also a pretty good show. So, I'm curious to see if there actually is any hot takes, or if this is just clickbait from MrSantiZap here. But let's get right into this, man.
Today I'm reacting to
his shitty mic.
Keep fan a little bit hot on the daily videos, all right? Daily video. Stop calling this. By the way, I understand that this isn't my regular office, but can you guys please stop calling this the casting couch? All right, that's enough. Let's see what you guys sent. Stephanie Vacquette is proving herself as a legitimate champion, and we shouldn't downplay Tiffany Stratton either. She's got a bunch of title defenses under her belt. There was no better way to do it than to have Stephanie Vacquette win.
See, that's crazy, because, like, that's a great point immediately, because, like, dude, didn't I literally say that, like, this match is a reason why the Crown Jewel Championship match was cool, because, you know, you have someone like Stephanie McCurry, who's only 3 weeks into her title reign, beating, like, Tiffany Stratton, who was 17-0 in singles matches this year, and it instantly elevated her up to that point of the other champion. It made her look very credible already, and she did it with one match. She's already, like, the champion now to beat. Going from, like, and, you know, like, 2 months ago, she was just someone on the roster. Like, that's why this match is cool, man. It's like, oh no, it just makes Tiffany look bad. Fuck you. This match is cool.
Let me actually take your statement one step further and say that not only was Stephanie Vacquette winning the correct choice, but in my opinion, it was the only available choice. Because had Tiffany Stratton won this match, I genuinely believe that it would have done irreparable damage to Stephanie Vacquette's Women's World Championship reign before it even really got going. Here's an interesting little factoid about Stephanie Vacquette's Women's World Championship reign. Did you know that this match at Crown Jewel between Stephanie and Tiffany was Stephanie Vacquette's first singles match ever since she won the Women's World Championship at WrestlePalooza? So
it's been 3 weeks, and yes, all they've done is just, like, had build up between in backstage segments, which I think is crazy. But I don't think, you know, these days the women's world, like, the world champions, are wrestling that many singles matches unless it's for the title.
So imagine she goes out there in her first match as Women's World Champion, and she's ending up looking up at the lights, getting pinned, and taking a loss. It would have been a terrible look and an awful way to start a Women's World Championship reign, to the point where I don't think you can build a legitimate Women's World Championship reign if that's your first impression. So I think they made the right call. On top of that, like you say here, Tiffany Stratton already has several championship defenses under her belt. She's won several feuds, so her taking this loss here doesn't do anything to damage her already existing championship reign.
What the fuck? That's literally what you were complaining. Oh, you were literally complaining about that in the other Reddit video about this, man. And you thought, like, what?
I'm a little bit surprised that this was a squeaky clean victory for Stephanie Vacquette, not so much as a ref bump or a ref misdirection. Nothing.
Why would there be? There doesn't always need to be one.
Just a straight up clean match, and I was
pleasantly
surprised by that. But again, I say, not only was Stephanie winning the correct choice, I genuinely think it was the only choice. Props to WWE for booking Crown Jewel in a way that was predictable yet didn't feel phoned in. I wasn't sure if they'd bounce back after the stinker that was WrestlePalooza Snooze Fest, but they put on 5 great matches, most of which had storylines and actually felt like they mattered. I do think...
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a good pay-per-view. I do like that sense of, like, you know, they did matter, even though they, like, it's funny you say that, because, like, really the Crown Jewel Championship doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Like, you can say that, right? You can just say that. It's just to crown like a champion of champions. But the other matches they did do that weren't for belts did feel like they matter. Also, the John Cena AJ Styles match is gonna have. It was just a match to have a match. So I don't know what you're talking about. Most of them. There was like 2 that actually had storyline implications, but still, they did do a good pay-per-view. It was a good pay-per-view. I had fun watching it, and yeah.
I think that WWE should get kudos here for taking a lot of the feedback of what was, like you said, a stinker of a show in WrestlePalooza,
Wasn't a stinker.
and following it up with what I thought was a genuinely fantastic show in Crown Jewel. It's not easy to bounce back like that. And not only did they bounce back from a terrible show that was WrestlePalooza, they did it on a Crown Jewel, a show that is designed for WWE to just phone it in. And this year they decided to not phone it in, to actually put in some decent.
That is true. I mean, they didn't really phone it in last year though. Like, there were a lot of matches on that card. They had, like, there were like 7 matches on that card. So it wasn't. I don't think it was a phoning in.
An effort into building matches that they could genuinely get away with having no build with the Crown Jewel matches. And yeah, sure, AJ Styles versus John Cena didn't have a single second of build, but I promise you, not a single soul on this planet is complaining about that because of how absolutely mind-bendingly good that match was. And yeah, was it predictable? Sure, I would agree.
Yeah.
I think the results of this show were, for the most part, fairly predictable. I feel like if you're able to connect some dots as a WWE fan, you could have pretty easily predicted pretty much every single outcome of the show. But I've always preached on this channel for the last several years that predictable doesn't always mean bad. Sometimes unpredictable for the sake of just being unpredictable, for the sake of creating a shock that doesn't actually make sense, is a terrible thing to do. Sometimes, say it with me folks, because we've been saying it for a long time here on this channel, it's okay to let 2 + 2 = 4. Easily the best WWE premium.
Wait. No, come on. Elimination Chamber. No. Wrong. Definitely top 5. Maybe
live
top 3.
event of 2025, in my opinion. Okay, so I agree that Crown Jewel 2025 was a very solid show. And a lot of people are calling this the best show of the year. It's not just me saying it. It's Samir saying it. It's Sports Illustrated that's saying it. But I firmly believe that Evolution...
Didn't ESPN give it like a B? It got better slightly.
Was the better show. Both of these shows were like solid from beginning to end. There were no lulls. There were no bad matches. However, you want to know the key difference between Crown Jewel and Evolution? Evolution had 7 matches.
Also, yeah, Evolution. Oh, fuck. I actually forgot that show happened. That match was way better, too.
Had Crown Jewel had a couple of extra matches, had they put Damian Priest versus Aleister Black on this card, then maybe I might be on the bandwagon that this was the best show of the year, but I still have to give it to Evolution. Cena versus Styles is the best match of John Cena's farewell tour.
It is close. I like the SummerSlam match. I like the SummerSlam match with Cody Rhodes. That one was pretty cool. I did think it exceeded expectations, though. I think people were very hesitant, like, going into it, to be like, what are they really going to do?
Everyone expected this to be good, but it still exceeded the expectation. I want to focus on that last little bit. It exceeded expectations. I do believe that expectations were high, dare I say. I think that people had way too high of expectations for this match because, well, let's face it, these guys are pushing 50 and they are nowhere near in the same physical prime that they were when they last faced off against each other in 2017. So in my mind, I felt like there was no chance in hell that they were going to be able to replicate the same physical magic that they were able to in their iconic 2016-2017.
But then we invented
so I actually had my expectations quite tempered going into this,
but
I knew it was going to be fun. I knew that these guys were going to find a way to make this special. But what I didn't expect were for them not just to make it special, but to maybe make it the greatest love letter to professional wrestling fans.
That's so funny, man. That's exactly how I now I wish I uploaded that video, because that's exactly how I described this match too. It was a love letter to pro wrestling in just the greatest way possible, man. And it did so much fan service. It was great. But that's so funny. He worded the same way I thought of that in my head. Fuck.
Ever seen. Is this the best match of John Cena's retirement tour? I have to absolutely say yes. And I love the Cody Rhodes match at SummerSlam. I love the Randy Orton match at Backlash.
Randy Orton match was also pretty underrated. Was there anything else? It was like R-Truth. Shitty tag at Money in the Bank. CM Punk was alright. Logan Paul. The Logan Paul one was actually not that bad either. Dude, that's funny. That's actually probably top 5 of the retirement tour so far. If you're not counting like the Elimination Chamber match. Also, you know what?
I loved the Logan Paul match at Clash in Paris. I loved the match against CM Punk at Night of Champions. There's been some really great matches that have really gotten me excited in this.
Like, oh man, that's really interesting actually. Just how like the match quality of this retirement tour so far has actually been pretty good. Like, and if it's not like a real technical in-ring, like, you know, work rate style, you know, banger, it usually has a lot of story going through it, like a lot of drama. So it usually gets made up for in a certain way. I think the only bad one so far has been the Brock Lesnar. I don't even think the WrestleMania match was that bad. I don't think it was that bad. I really don't. So that's interesting, though.
John Cena retirement tour, but this AJ Styles match, good lord, this was generationally good, if you ask me. So when it comes to expectations, oh my god, yeah, they completely
I loved it, though.
Fucking shattered those. Cena versus Styles was the best match.
I can't. Dude, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, though. That was this year. I know that feels like forever ago, but that was this year. What else was there? There was Cena, Rhodes. There was the fucking TLC matches. And Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky at Evolution. Yeah, man, it's a heavily contested award this year for sure. So there's been some really good wrestling.
The year. This is going to be a really interesting conversation, especially when we get closer to the end of the year. Because I believe from an in-ring perspective, like the physicality, there are better matches. And I immediately point to the women's triple threat match between Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair at WrestleMania 4.
How could I forget that match too? And then the WrestleMania Night 1 main event.
41 and Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky at Evolution. However, even though I would personally say that both of those matches from like in-ring choreography and from A to B are the better in-ring affairs, I don't think that they're the better wrestling match, because wrestling is more than just about what moves people do. It's about the emotions that...
Ooh. AEW fans are going to get on your ass for that one, Santi.
The thing that you are watching elicits from you. And I can tell you with confidence that I have never gone through the roller coaster of emotions that John Cena versus AJ Styles
shit, dude.
put me through. I
was
laughing.
This guy loved that match, man. You know what? I'm very curious. I know I really shouldn't care about this. But I'm very curious what Dave Meltzer gives this as a star rating. If he will be with, like, you know, tapped in with the praise, or he thinks it is generational, or if he thinks, you know, it's just a 4.5 star match. I'm very curious to see what he thinks of it, but I think, yeah, it was, like, again, the emotions it elicits, you could justify that for as a reason for it being the best match, but I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Ooh, that's tough.
I was smiling.
I think I'd still probably have to give it to, like, Rhea, Io, and Bianca at WrestleMania, low-key. Or Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Tearing up. I was sad. I was getting goosebumps. Every emotion that you can feel while watching a wrestling match, I genuinely felt. Hell, there was a point where AJ Styles, close to the end of the match, hits a clean, phenomenal forearm, and I just accepted that that was going to be the end of the match. I was willing to accept AJ Styles beating John Cena in this match because the match was just so damn good that I believe that AJ Styles deserved the win at one point. But yeah, the emotions that this elicited from me, the callbacks, the nostalgia, and nostalgia is a hell of a drug. Is this a bunch of fan service? You goddamn right that it is. It is cheap fan service at the end of the day. It's cheap, but it was earned fan service. It was earned fan service.
That's not cheap.
These guys earned the ability to deliver fan service because both of these guys have 20-plus year careers careers with legendary feuds spanning two major wrestling organizations in TNA and WWE. If there's a set of guys that is allowed to rely on nostalgia, if there's a set of guys that is allowed to rely on cheap pops, like doing a bunch of finishers from other dudes, it's these two guys. This is earned cheap pops, ladies and gentlemen, and I loved every second of this fan service filled match. It is my favorite match of the year. Again, I want to clarify before we move on that favorite doesn't always mean best.
Right,
WWE did Rio and the Kabuki Warriors dirty by having them fight after Cena versus Styles. I completely zoned out.
That's your dumbass fault, because that match was also really good too. I like that one a lot. I feel like Cena should be main eventing any show he's on because he zaps so much energy from the crowd. No? Like, shouldn't be the main event. The whole point of the retirement tour isn't to, like, you know, steal the spotlight like it used to, like, at least when he was a heel, but now it's, like, better.
For the tag match, I feel like Cena
now
should
it's,
be
you know, it's just like another, it's like the next, it's like you have the world title matches, and then you have Cena's retirement tour. They're hand in hand. They can, like, he can just be the one before it. That's fine.
Eventing any show he is on because he saps so much energy from the crowd in a good way. Well, sometimes in a bad way, because that crowd was completely sapped out of their energy and care after John Cena and Brock Lesnar went out there and put on one of the biggest stinkers of the year. So it's not always in a good way. But yeah, I did feel bad for Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and the Kabuki Warriors because, by the way, they went on to put on a hell of a match. A
very good tag team
match to the surprise of absolutely nobody, because the talent in that tag team match was out of this world. But you're right, having to follow that up, having to follow this roller coaster of emotions that John Cena versus AJ Styles took that arena on,
Jesus
took the millions
Christ.
of people watching at home on, it was hard to be able to reset your brain to go back to watch something that's a little bit more traditional, more of what you're used to seeing on a PLE or on your regular 2025 professional wrestling show. Because what we watch between John Cena and AJ Styles, and I know that this is an overused term, it really was once in a lifetime. We're probably never going to see something like that ever again. So to have to follow
Why
this
not?
up,
That's such an easy thing to do, though. Why wouldn't we be able to see, like, we wouldn't see it probably work to the same level, but we could see a match like this again.
it is genuinely an impossible task. But somebody had to follow it up, because I actually disagree with you. I don't think that this match should have main evented. I mean, with the power of hindsight, sure, you can say this should have main evented because it was so damn good, and people are pretty much exclusively talking about this match. But I think that they made the right call having the men's crown jewel match main eventing Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, because those are the guys that are at the top of the business right now. Those are the guys telling the major stories week in and week out. And John Cena and AJ Styles had literally no interaction going into this show. But yeah, dude, they went on and put on just way too good of a match to follow up. This is the first time Cody used his super crossroads since AEW, and it looked beautiful. By far, Cody belongs in the top 10 in-ring workers right now in WWE.
Since AEW, and it looked beautiful before Cody Rhodes belonging in the top 10 numbers right now. Yeah, QB1, baby!
Okay, I want to focus on this super crossroads. You're right, we haven't seen this in the WWE yet. That was an awesome moment. You would think that they would have saved this move for Cody Rhodes to actually win the match with it. I think, personally, it was kind of ridiculous that Seth Rollins kicked out of this damn thing, considering it's this very move that's already put him away 3 times before, and now the super version of it.
Come on, to be fair. He had to do it like 3 times for it to put him away. I mean, yeah, I think it was. It is kind of a funny time to like bring this move out, and to be like, for it to not be the finish too is kind of silly, but I think, you know, it added to the match, because like I bought it as a finish. I really did. I was like, oh my god, he's actually gonna win here, and then he didn't. So I wasn't mad that he did it. I didn't think it took away from the match. I think it elevated the match a lot to a higher sense. Like, wow, this, you know, these guys are really trying to win here. Shows you how much they really do try to want to win the Crown Jewel Championship. So, Not against it. It is a little bit silly though, for sure, for it to not be the finish.
All of a sudden doesn't put him away. I kind of put a question mark on that. Am I being a little bit of a nerd? Am I being a clutching my pearls wrestling nerd right now? A little bit, but come on. I do think that with Cody Rhodes pulling out this move for the first time in WWE,
this
that
guy's
it
so
should
funny,
have been
man.
to
Jesus
pick up
Christ.
the victory in whatever match that he pulls
I
out.
actually
in,
wonder how old
I do
SantiZap
think that
is.
we are maybe in an era where these avalanche versions.
What do you think the over-under is on his age? Like 25? Dude, if he's over 25, bro.
Of moves are
Dude,
just,
I know I'm saying this in like a
signatures
fucking
now
Switchblade
because,
shirt,
they're
but
getting
like,
kicked out from, right? You've got this guy kicked out from John Cena's Avalanche.
Funny
AA
guy,
is
man.
getting kicked out from
Funny
left,
guy.
right, and center by pretty much everybody at this point. Anyways, this is just a long-winded version of me saying that Cody should have won with this move if they were going to have him.
Yeah,
pull
I
it
didn't
out.
get
Cena versus
understanding
AJ
that.
Styles.
Yeah. Oh, that really gonna know. Dude, where are the hot takes? Where are the controversial takes, man? What is this? Fucking best rivalry in terms of match quality? Bro, where's your hot takes? Where are they?
Styles is the best rivalry of Cena in terms of match quality. They always had brilliant chemistry with each
Okay,
other.
hold on. Let me think, though. Was there a better feud in terms of match quality than this quintology? No. I'm trying to think of this one that doesn't involve these two guys. Like Roman Cody, that was pretty cool. That's pretty close, but that was only 2 matches, so that doesn't really count. I mean, Cody, Seth. All 4 of those matches have been awesome so far. Has there ever been a bad Cena Punk match? Maybe? Okay, no, I can't even say like the pay-per-view ones because they're all from 2013 match. I want to say Cena Punk. I think that's one of the best in terms of actual in-ring quality too. Probably was the best at the time. Surely there's like a Daniel Bryan feud that I can't think of right now that was as good. In a second run, maybe? Was there any feud? I can't say the Styles feud because the one at Royal Rumble was kind of eh. This might be it, bro. I mean, okay. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens also always... Actually, no, they didn't, though. The one at fucking TakeOver Unstoppable was super mid. It might just be this. Did Finn Balor have any matches? Okay, you know what? Fine. I agree with you.
And always delivered match of the night. Ding, 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 ding. You are on the money. I entirely agree with this statement. I do think that AJ Styles gives John Cena the best matches of his career. I do think...
Anytime Cena and Rollins got in the ring, though, that was like... Because, like, every single time they did, it was fantastic. So, maybe that.
that Cena versus AJ...
I do think that's probably, like, his best opponent. But, you know, they've... Yeah, Styles is probably a close
Cena's
second.
best rivalry from an in-ring match quality perspective.
I think Cena Rollins is also up there, though. Like, their 2015 feud was actually just fucking awesome.
As you're saying, I don't think it's his greatest rival. I don't think it's his greatest rivalry because that entails storylines and promos and whatnot. And although their matches have been great, and even their storylines were solid when they were feuding with each other.
Talking about that. He's talking about. He's literally talking about in terms of match quality.
Punk, Randy Orton, and Edge have told better stories than John Cena and AJ Styles. But yeah, I'll agree with the sentiment that this is Cena's best rivalry from match quality because it's just consistently amazing every single time. The Roman Reigns and Jey Uso storyline was exciting tonight, but I'm not so sure if it's going to stay great as it's been in recent weeks. I hope I'm wrong, but in about 2 months from now, I don't know if the prestige of the storyline will be better in quality. I do think I see where you're...
The fuck? I blanked out thinking about actually tweeting SantiZap for a second. The Roman J story was exciting tonight, but I'm not so sure it's going to stay as great as it has been in recent weeks. I hope I'm wrong, but in about 2 months from now, I don't know if the procedures will be better in quality. That's fair. Like, again, we are doing something interesting with Jey Uso. He's a bit more interesting than he was, like, for the past Yo, fuck, man. Since like before WrestleMania 40, this is probably the most interesting Jey Uso has been. And then yeah, the whole prestige of it and like where it's gonna go from here. I get that. I do worry a little bit about that too. I feel like we're gonna be spinning our tires a little bit with some of this bloodline storytelling because you know Jey Uso's now he's going bad, and then they're gonna fucking where his alignments are gonna lie. I do share those concerns, but I don't know, man. Every single time they do like tell a story with the bloodline, it actually still has kind of been good. Like it's still been intriguing. So I'm gonna put faith in them to actually still have a good storyline going forward with Jey Uso, Roman, and Jimmy.
You're coming from. It's hard to bank on this storyline being as good as it's been consistently moving forward. And I think I know the reason for that. It's the fact that we know that Roman Reigns isn't going to be there on a weekly basis. You say that this storyline has been good and fantastic for the past 2 weeks. Well, that's the 2 weeks that Roman Reigns has been back in the WWE. That's a huge driving force as to why this storyline, why the evolution of Jey Uso has been as intriguing as it's been. If Roman is about to take several months off until after Christmas to continue this storyline, this story in the development of Jey Uso has to kind of go on the back burner for a little while. It's not really...
Not even go on the back burner, it's just the progress is going to be very slow. And I think you're going to have to hit like the moments of like the Saturday Night's main event and the pay-per-views and fucking whatever else,
gonna be able to progress in the way that you probably wanted to. It's not gonna be able to progress in the way and provide quality storytelling and intriguing storytelling in the way that it's been able to in the past 2 weeks, because the thing that's made it interesting in the past 2 weeks isn't going to be there, assumably, for the next several months. And that right there is the fundamental problem in having a storyline so heavily reliant on a part-time talent. Doesn't mean the storyline can't be good, but I do think it prevents from the storyline being consistently amazing week in, week out, week in, week out. Cena versus Styles was not only a phenomenal match, it was a beautiful representation of pro wrestling. I'm not ready for both of them to retire. Many people have used this term already, but let's explore this a little bit more. I do think that John Cena and AJ Styles may have been the greatest love letter to professional wrestling fans that I've ever been able to witness with my...
I'm trying to think, man, which one does that better? I just like maybe this is gonna be such a fun. Not like to WWE fans. This would be such a funny pick, but like maybe something like Kenny Omega's Kota Ibushi's like their original DDT match. Not even from like maybe the 2012 one for sure. Some other love letters to pro wrestling. I think some Punk Joe's 60-minute 60-minute time limit draw is a nice love letter. I think there's gotta be a Bryan Danielson match in there somewhere too. Maybe like Nigel McGuinness. The one with Nigel McGuinness actually in Grand Slam 2024 I think was a good love letter. Is there anything else that just springs to mind as like a just for the fans to 100%? I mean, I think Omega Bryan Danielson was like a love letter to wrestling in that kind of aspect too, and it had a lot more storyline going on throughout it than Cena Styles. So I think I'd have to give the edge to that one, man. But yeah, they're like this one's up there. I think that's probably one of the best WWE ones for sure. I'm trying to think of like another one where they just said fuck it, yeah, let the fans just be happy. Like in terms of like getting a match that they actually wanted. And not, because it's like, because they actually want to see the match happen and not just because, it serves the storyline purposes. I don't think there is. I really don't think there is. So maybe this is the best one.
Because this was a love letter to wrestling fans that are new to the product and to wrestling fans that have been watching for 20 plus years. Because if you're new to the product, cool, you got to see a wonderful match with a super hot crowd between two guys that are about to go out on their soar. John Cena and AJ.
I feel like it's kind of hard to make it a love letter match like that, like only serves the purposes to old fans. CM Punk MJF Revolution. But, yeah, I don't know. I can't be the only one that didn't that didn't like get his entrance at first, and I had to fucking look it up. So maybe that.
Styles that are about to retire. But if you've been
that.
watching for 10 years, then you got to see awesome callbacks of John Cena's feuds in the 2010s. If you've been watching for 20 years, not only did you get to see even more callbacks of John Cena's past feuds, but then you got to see callbacks of AJ Styles' feuds in his time in TNA. Essentially, what I'm saying is that this feud rewarded you for watching wrestling as much as you have been. This was...
Jesus Christ, buddy. You're doing some insane glaze for WWE right now. Because AEW does that a lot, too. Let's just not forget that, all right? Let's
the
not
more
forget
wrestling that you've watched in your lifetime, the more time that you devoted to this crazy hobby of professional wrestling, the
that's
more
a very nice way
that
to put
this
it, though.
match was...
I will say that's a very nice way to put it, is that it was rewarding. It rewarded you for being a long-time viewer, which I don't think, which is it's funny. It's a funny thing to do in this day and age, and even I know like nostalgia core has kind of been the big buzzword for WWE recently, but again, for someone that is like that has been like as deeply like engraved as something like that's been deeply engraved in my brain as much as this has been, to see him hit the Angel's wings, see Styles hit the Angel's wings, see him hit Frankie Kazarian's move, the reverse tombstone. I get that in a sense, and it was a really cool thing for WWE to do today in this landscape for sure.
Tailored and targeted towards you, and that in 2025 and really always in WWE has been a rarity. WWE doesn't want to target those fans. They want to target the casual fan, the greatest common denominator with their fans. But this right here, this match, the more that you are into professional wrestling, the more that it was designed to send you a thank you for being a fan for as long as you've been. And if that doesn't put a smile on your face, if that doesn't want to make you bring a tear to your eye as a wrestling fan, as a wrestling fan that's been watching for 2+ decades, it certainly elicits that from me. Like I said, this was a rare match where I was genuinely to the point where I was about to howl in crying and laughter at the same time. This might be the most important win in Seth Rollins' career. For the first time ever, he is now the one who is truly on top and holds all of...
Oh, this hurts because I know. Does he know? He doesn't know, dude. He doesn't know what's coming. No! Why'd you take that? Why'd you take the coast-to-coast headbutt, man? Why? Did you fuck up your shoulder?
The power.
You had it all!
He now has more power than both Cody and Roman Reigns, and he is the main focus of the story now. Everything that you say here is true, and all of these reasons are the reason why Seth Rollins needed to win this match. Had Seth Rollins lost this match, we'd be talking about the complete polar opposite, and not
You know what sucks now? You know what genuinely sucks now is the fact that now, since like he could potentially be injured and he's been fucking turned on by the Vision, I kind of wish he lost that match now, because I think that would have played into the story better. It's like, oh, this guy isn't someone that can really lead us, like lead the Vision, and yeah. But I'm gonna make a video talking about the Vision's collapse, so I'll get into it more then.
With power in the WWE.
I'll skip over this one for now too, because this all aged immediately poorly.
I like that. The very top of the company. The Rio versus Kabuki Warriors tag team match was great. I like the storytelling of the match. I also like the ending where Kairi sacrificed herself for Asuka.
That ending was so funny, man. She literally sacrificed herself for saved Asuka from getting hit with like, fuck, what was it? I can't even remember what it was, but she then immediately just started getting like the shit beaten out of her and pinned. Asuka was nowhere to save her as well, man. That was I like that storytelling too, because that's pretty cool. But
it'll be interesting to see
what
happens
pretty funny.
Next. I think what happens next is a big question in this feud, mostly because I don't really know what happens next. I feel like the Kabuki Warriors losing this match kind of burns our ability to truly build off of this, to truly make the Kabuki Warriors this super imposing evil force that requires War Games to be able to topple them,
But it's not even like about that, right? The storyline wasn't about the Kabuki Wars being like an ultimate dominating force in the division. It was about Asuka and her control over Kairi Sane, and that toxic relationship they're having right now, where Kairi's constantly sacrificing herself to her and is not seeing anything in return, but she stays loyal to Asuka because she has been for so many years. I think that's the ultimate story you get out of it, and you get a good babyface win out of it in the home country of one of the stars. So it will still play into War Games a certain way. So we'll just have to see how that does. Who the fuck else could join the War Games team? There's no other teams. SantiZap? Oh.
You know what I mean? So what's the story here? How do we keep the Kabuki Warriors relevant in this storyline? And I do think it is for the soul of Kairi Sane, because we saw Kairi Sane be willing to sacrifice herself for Asuka. Is Asuka going to thank her for that, or is Asuka going to reprimand her for taking the L in this match? So the storytelling moving forward, the thing that me and you are supposed to care about is Kairi Sane, which I think is so refreshing that Kairi Sane, I think, is about to become the focal point of this storyline, a storyline that involves two people that generally are the focus of whatever storyline they're involved in Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, so this should be a nice change of pace. WWE has put themselves in a tight spot because John Cena's final match has to be better or come very close to this match with AJ Styles. My favorite match of the night. I'm really going to miss both 2 years from now. Safe to say this PLE was awesome, almost on SummerSlam level in my opinion. Daniel,
I think just the moment itself will be able to elevate it to that level of this match, or get at least close. Just the fact that it's his final match is in WWE's advantage, or they're gonna build it as his final match. So I think they already have the advantage. They're gonna have to try to find a way to fuck it up if they can't get it to reach that level.
I think that you bring up a really interesting point, and I'm actually going to build off of your point here. I'm going to say something that might be considered a bit of a hot take.
So we get the hot takes from SantiZap.
I'm going to say that this should have been John Cena's retirement match.
Okay, wait a minute. Oh, don't say that, man, because now I'm actually gonna try to compare it to this. Oh, I'm gonna compare his final match to this, man. Shit. No, if they do it with Gunther, it will be better. It will tell a more compelling story. There will be an actual story to it instead of just just doing moves. Yeah, I think it has to be better, and it has to be.
If it was going to be this good, if it was going to be all of these callbacks to John Cena's career, then this should have been how they ended his career. It would have been a wonderful chapter to end the storyline of John Cena's career. It would have been a perfect way to close the book on his career in the WWE. So yeah, I actually kind of agree with you. I do think that they're in a little bit of a jam here, because having to top this is going to be, I think, impossible. Edge versus Orton's, quote, greatest wrestling match ever at Backlash walks so that Cena versus Styles at Crown Jewel 2025 can run.
I was thinking about that too, actually, during the match. I was like, wow, this is a lot like the greatest wrestling match ever. I wonder if, I already think that match itself was actually pretty good, despite it being so long. I just wonder if, it's aged well. Because I know, obviously it happened during the pandemic and such like that, but I wonder if if you go back and watch it now, it actually still kind of holds up.
I wanted to include this because I haven't seen anybody reference this match
but
yet.
Yes, no, they are right. It is, it's the move stealing, it's the callbacks, it's the fucking, it's all, that's what the match was about. That's what they deemed to be something that would make a wrestling match the greatest wrestling match ever. Which, by the way, that's still such a fucking crazy build up to a match. I still can't get my brain around that.
What John Cena and AJ Styles did was literally just Edge and Orton's greatest wrestling match ever at Backlash in 2020. So go back and watch that match, because I do think it is a fun study of professional wrestling to see them do it in front of no crowd, and then watch Cena and AJ Styles do it in front of a large 10,000 plus seat stadium. Yeah. Obviously the context is different because it is John Cena's retirement and there's just so much hype and excitement for that. But you can see that that match between Edge and Orton, as fun as it is, as fun as all the callbacks are, all of the moves that they did from the past, it's missing something, and it was the fans. It
also was a bit out of place to do, like, they're doing callbacks to wrestlers that actually didn't even have, like, anything to do with. Like, they were doing, like, rock bottoms and shit. What the fuck was Edge doing a rock bottom for? And it was like, yeah, it served no purpose to, like, the actual feud itself, man, so, yeah.
It's missing that rabid culture of people getting crazy for the
I
nostalgia
was
that
thinking
they're seeing that
they're doing
they
rock
didn't
bottoms.
get to see in person because of the pandemic. Crown Jewel will definitely get a ranking of A.
Nope. Try again. See, this is where we start the agenda that ESPN actually is just too cynical of WWE's shows. Because, like, low-key, that should have been an A. It low-key should have been an A. I don't know how you don't get an A from that. Yeah, I just don't know how you don't get an A from that. Crazy stuff.
A from ESPN. Match between
Because it didn't. It got a B.
was definitely a 5-star.
Also, we're not going to start caring. I say all that. We're not going to start caring about what fucking ESPN gives us pay-per-view. I swear to God, we're not going to do this. We're not doing this, man. We're not fucking doing this. I don't know any... You know what? Maybe I'll do that for a video. I'll just look back and see what they gave past pay-per-views, maybe. But I swear to God, we're not gonna start caring about what they fucking rank the pay-per-views.
So I picked this because the review has officially come out, and WWE only got a B from ESPN for Crown Jewel. And I think, if I'm being honest, that is way too low. Funnily enough, for the WrestlePalooza review, I thought that C was way too generous. Which kind of goes to show that at the end of the day, these reviews are just opinions, and you're not always going to agree with these people. But I do think that the ESPN
it's not like a Michelin star,
Crown Jewel 2025 is entirely way too harsh. Like, if I was writing that review, I genuinely would have given Crown Jewel 2025 an A, and maybe I'm a little bit too generous.
I would have given an A too,
but I also would have given.
I just don't know how you improve on that. Aside from making like every match is good at that, so maybe like an A-.
WrestlePalooza an F and not a C. I'd understand if both SmackDown champions won last year, but having both Raw champions win here makes me think that
who the fuck cares? Raw already is the A show because it's fucking better. Really? Dude, this guy still cares about brand supremacy, dude. Get this fucking guy out of here. What? Raw be the A... You want SmackDown to be the A show? SmackDown sucks right now, dude. I'm not fucking watching that show. It's already the B show. You're too late. It's over. Good job, WWE. Fuck you, man. Like, you really wanted them to consider that? I'd be like, oh shit, man, we're gonna have all our SmackDown guys lose? Like, damn, bro. Let's have Tiffany Stratton win then. Let's have Cody Rhodes win then. Dumbass.
going to now have Raw be the A show and SmackDown be the B show. Good job, WWE. I personally think that you are overanalyzing and overthinking this. In fact, let me maybe reframe the information here and maybe this will make you change your mind. You say that because the Raw champions won, that now all of a sudden Raw is going to become the A show. What if I frame it in the way by saying that if the Raw champions lost, then they would have been absolutely buried and all of their storylines ruined and their championship reigns completely null and void? Because I think that the Raw champions needed to win, which if anything highlights that the SmackDown champions are the A champions, if you ask me. Just a different way to frame things.
Wait, what?
Most needed to win, which if anything highlights that the SmackDown champions are the A champions, if you ask me. Just a different way to frame things. Mostly what I'm saying here is that I don't think that that matters. I don't think that WWE
it doesn't matter at all
about making Raw look better than SmackDown.
This isn't 2018, buddy. Get with the times.
About making the correct champion look better at this time when they need to look better. There's a lot of praise about Crown Jewel, but something I'm particularly happy with is the direction they're moving with Jey Uso in. I know that I'm not the only person who's been frustrating with how Jey as a character has been regressed in 2025, but his angry side of him is a huge improvement. So I've actually...
His angry side. Bro, you don't want me to bring Damien out. Yeah. Like I said, it makes them probably the most interesting it's been since before WrestleMania 40. I don't want to say it's regress, but he found a niche. He found a spot. He found a reason to do what he's done. It's just, yeah. But like obviously I agree with you. Like, oh, fucking, you know, being like just the crowd merchant guy is kind of annoying to someone who's chronically online. But that being said, yes, the angry side of him, yes, it is a very good improvement. It makes him interesting. I'm excited to see where he goes from here, and if actually something does come out of this, which hopefully it does.
Actually not seen enough people talk about this. I know that not everybody loves what's going on with Jey Uso. I personally am happy to see this evolution of Jey Uso, but one of the things that I don't see enough people talking about is the fact that we're actually getting Jey Uso conversations, Jey Uso promos that don't just entirely rely on 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. In fact, when he does purely rely on that shtick, it feels out of place, because now you want to hear about Jey Uso's thoughts. You want to hear what he's feeling, why he's mad, why he's upset, what he feels about character X or character Y, and that is an improvement when you compare Jey Uso just being a one laugh track type of machine
SantiZap spitting right now
all the time for the better part of the last 12 months. So I agree with you. With John Cena using the walls of Jericho tonight at 100%.
This gives me fucking, like, this sends a shiver down my spine, the idea of him coming back. I'm just getting sad thinking about it. This guy fucking sucked the life out of everything he was doing for the last, like, 3 years on AEW. He's gonna come over to WWE, man? Like, ugh.
Confirms that Chris Jericho is coming home. Okay, so I don't think it 100% confirms it, but I do think that it points to the direction that it's more likely to happen than not. John Cena using the walls of Jericho and commentary acknowledging that it's the walls of Jericho, to me tells me that Jericho is returning, because compare it to when John Cena did the homage to Edge. They didn't mention the word or the name Edge or Cope or Adam Copeland. True. Instead, you had Michael Cole say that it's Roman Reigns, which we knew it wasn't.
That's funny.
And we had Corey Graves kind of dance around it, talking about the Chris Jericho.
I don't care.
So leave it up.
I love professional wrestling. I do too, man. What a great, what a great way to end off on, man. Great ending message. Professional wrestling is awesome. All right, well, good video. Not too many hot takes. I thought there should have been more hotter takes, but got a few, so that's cool. Good video for MrSantiZap here. Interesting thought perspective. He clearly loves that AJ Styles John Cena match, so I can't even blame him that much. I think it was pretty great too. Yeah, if you guys fuck, leave a comment down below. Tell me, guys, what you thought of Crown Jewel, what you thought of my opinions on Crown Jewel, what you thought of other people's opinions on Crown Jewel. Leave a comment to let me know for sure. Playlist of my other, I guess, just reactions. Here's a video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy, and then you can subscribe right here. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe to the channel. That's going to do it for me, though. I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.